leaked images and specifications are coming fast and furious. But the big question is, are we still getting the Mavic 4 Pro in April, or could we see an earlier announcement? I'll answer these questions as well as provide you with the latest leaked specifications. But first, I have a rather simple and humble request. Please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps this channel grow and keeps you informed on the latest camera gear. And thanks to Chinese blogger Yu, we now know that the flight time for the Mavic 4 Pro is 52 minutes. And the variable ND filters, well, they're stepless. But there is one item that we're being told about that we had been told about previously that I had discounted. I mean, a micro four thirds sensor capable of delivering 100 megapixels? Well, it didn't make any sense, but it's making its rounds again. All I can think of is that this is in photo mode, and they're offering something akin to what Sony did with the A7R5, and that's delivering pixel shift, where the camera assembles multiple images together in rapid succession to deliver a higher resolution image. And if that's the case, well, then it means the resolution is probably a fourth of that. 100 megapixels on a micro four thirds sensor. Even on a full frame sensor, it's, well, that's a bit of a engineering feat. Anyhow, on to the rest of the specifications. It gets an updated transmission over the Mavic 3 Pro. It gets a new controller, and the weight is going to be 1,045 grams. Now, if you're thinking these latest leaked specifications seem a little bit deja vu, well, you'd be correct. Several leaked specifications in the past had touched on these, and I'm going to bring up, well, the latest one that I covered, which seems pretty plausible and realistic. And in terms of video, because, I mean, if you're buying a DJI Mavic 4 Pro, guess what? You're largely focused on a cinematic aerial platform. Video-wise, 4K up to 120 frames per second and 6K up to 60 frames per second. It had said a 28mm lens, f2 to f11, but it didn't necessarily indicate if that was the only one. In terms of ISO, it's going to have dual base ISO, stops 1 through 6, a 6,654 milliamp battery with 95.3 watt hours, and of course we see the weight here lining up nicely at 1,045 grams. The previous source did mention it was going to have a 240 watt charger, but the tilt range is what's got a lot of people excited. Again, looking at this latest leaked photo, you can see from that new ruggedly designed head, that more robust head that's able to tolerate higher wind speeds for a longer period of time, that it also has a tilt capability. And according to that previous source, the tilt range is between -90 to 80 degrees. And you'll be happy to know that you have a much higher resolution transmission, a 4K 30 video transmission up to 40 kilometers. And that's pretty exciting, but I have to wonder, 4K 30 up to 40 kilometers? Yeah, as long as it's not stopping and starting and it's creating all those weird video artifacts that you normally get when a video signal isn't quite as strong, that would be key. Because the last thing I want when I'm doing, I'm flying by wire, I'm not doing line of sight, I need to know exactly where I am and what obstacles I'm encountering. And yes, the map on the display will show me where I am, but that doesn't tell me, you know, if I'm in a forest area or an area with a lot of obstructions, what's around me. So having an uninterrupted video transmission is key, but 4K 30 up to 40 kilometers, that seems a little bit too good to be true. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, as far as sensors, it's supposed to have 3 visioning sensors, 6 sensors up and down. And those obstacle avoidance sensors, they're game changing. When I picked up the Mavic Pro back, how many years ago now? 6 years ago, the very first one that came out, those obstacle avoidance sensors were absolutely game-changing. The source also reports flight-assisted real-time images, as well as flight-assisted RTK. But now for the one thing that has got a lot of us scratching our heads. With so many leaked images and leaked specifications coming fast and furious, it seems like every other day we're getting new information. In fact, the information I'm talking to you about today is one day after I posted my last video on the DJI Mavic 4 Pro. And I didn't put it out on the weekend because I wanted to take a break, so that's why you're watching this on Monday. But the leaks are coming fast and furious, and why is that such a big deal? Well, that usually indicates that an announcement is within days, weeks, well, less than a month at least. But based on the previous source and UU today, well, we're being told that it's April of this year, April 2025. I'm wondering if we could not get an announcement sooner, let's say by the end of January. And if you're saying, well, wait a minute, Simon, didn't we already have a rumor that it could happen by the end of January, that there was going to be some sort of FAA or US legislation that would put some sort of ban on the Mavic 4 Pro or other DJI drones? Yeah, well, there was some discussion about that, but everything that we've been fed so far from various leaks have told us, no, nothing to look here, nothing to see, just keep on driving. Nothing's going to happen until April. These aren't the drones you're looking for. I mean, forget all the stuff that you're being fed and given, and it seems like an announcement is coming soon, but no, we're marching towards an April 2025 announcement. And that might very well be the case. But I do get that sense that they are moving up that date. But at this point, we're hearing nothing credible regarding that. Now, in terms of the price of this Mavic 4 Pro, and I am assuming here, nobody has mentioned, but I'm assuming like the Mavic 3 Pro, we're getting two versions, the Mavic 4 Pro and maybe a Mavic 4 Pro cinematic version, whatever capabilities that would entail. And that would also help explain why we're getting some contradiction in some of the specifications. Some might be meant for the base model and some might be meant for the cinematic model. But in terms of price, this source had said it's going to be around 2,200 euros. Now, based on the exchange rate, customs, tariffs, and all that wonderful stuff, we'd expect a US price right around no more than $2,200 and probably somewhere around, how would I say, $19.99 to $20.99. And I'm probably going to guess the price of $20.99. And if you're just taking a look at the exchange rate, yeah, that doesn't work because keep in mind, in Europe, when you're purchasing something, there's usually a 20% VAT value-added tax attached to things. So you're usually being quoted the price of the unit plus tax, whereas in North America, we always quote you that price without the tax. So if you're in Nevada, New Hampshire, well, that's the price you pay. But if you're in New York, you're probably paying around 8.75% retail sales tax. And if you think that's a lot, you should come to Canada, where we pay up to 15% sales tax. Yeah, on some pretty heavy taxes already. Now, corporate taxes aren't too bad. I pay about 12.2% on this channel. But as soon as I pull that money out, I'm hit with a whopping 50%. Yeah, I know. Anyhow, enough of taxes, because there's only two things that are inescapable in life, and that's death and taxes. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching to the very end. I very much appreciated. As more information comes out, I'm going to be sticking to the Mavic 4 Pro very closely until we get an announcement date. This is one drone that I'm very excited about and might just have to purchase for 2025. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a happy new year, and we'll see you again soon.